hotels where there's like one person to talk to for everything. And so at the last minute, we realized we needed audio and video services. And so I contacted Lighthouse Streaming and Audio, and they were very quick to respond. They were able to, even though it was the last minute, they were able to fit us into their schedule, and they provided us with technicians and equipment to record our sessions, and we'll be able to provide the people who are speaking at those sessions with great video of themselves. I would highly recommend them. I highly recommend Lighthouse Streaming and Audio. I had nothing but a pleasant experience, and if we come back to Waco again, which we hope to do, I know I'll be in touch with them.
Hello, my name is Roy Gillis, founder and CEO of Lighthouse Streaming. Over the last 4 years, we've had some tremendous successes, none of which could have been accomplished without you, our clients, and our viewers. From my family and the staff of Lighthouse Streaming, thank you. Hello, my name is Roy Gillis, CEO of Lighthouse Streaming, and you're watching Centex Sports Network.
My name is Tashay Sayes. I'm a music major at MCC, and I'm so happy to be here. It's crazy how I got here.
My name is Emily Adams. I'm the marketing director for the Texas Asphalt Pavement Association. We are here at our 3rd annual MAPS conference at the Waco Convention Center in beautiful Waco, Texas. I think the event has exceeded all of our expectations. We had an amazing turnout and great sessions and nothing but positive feedback. So this is our first conference in a convention center, and I'm used to working with hotels where there's like one person to talk to for everything. And so at the last minute, we realized we needed audio and video services. And so I contacted Lighthouse Streaming and Audio, and they were very quick to respond. They were able to, even though it was the last minute, they were able to fit us into their schedule, and they provided us with technicians and equipment to record our sessions, and we'll be able to provide the people who are speaking at those sessions with great video of themselves. I would highly recommend them. I highly recommend Lighthouse Streaming and Audio. I had nothing but a pleasant experience, and if we come back to Waco again, which we hope to do, I know I'll be in touch with them.
Hello, my name is Roy Gillis, founder and CEO of Lighthouse Streaming. Over the last 4 years, we've had some tremendous successes, none of which could have been accomplished without you, our clients, and our viewers. From my family and the staff of Lighthouse Streaming, thank you. Hello, my name is Roy Gillis, CEO of Lighthouse Streaming, and you're watching Centex Sports Network.
My name is Tashay Sayes. I'm a music major at MCC, and I'm so happy to be here. It's crazy how I got here.
My name is Emily Adams. I'm the marketing director for the Texas Asphalt Pavement Association. We are here at our 3rd annual MAPS conference at the Waco Convention Center in beautiful Waco, Texas. I think the event has exceeded all of our expectations. We had an amazing turnout and great sessions and nothing but positive feedback. So this is our first conference in a convention center, and I'm used to working with hotels where there's like one person to talk to for everything. And so at the last minute, we realized we needed audio and video services. And so I contacted Lighthouse Streaming and Audio, and they were very quick to respond. They were able to, even though it was the last minute, they were able to fit us into their schedule, and they provided us with technicians and equipment to record our sessions, and we'll be able to provide the people who are speaking at those sessions with great video of themselves. I would highly recommend them. I highly recommend Lighthouse Streaming and Audio. I had nothing but a pleasant experience, and if we come back to Waco again, which we hope to do, I know I'll be in touch with them.
Hello, my name is Roy Gillis, founder and CEO of Lighthouse Streaming. Over the last 4 years, we've had some tremendous successes, none of which could have been accomplished without you, our clients, and our viewers. From my family and the staff of Lighthouse Streaming, thank you. Hello, my name is Roy Gillis, CEO of Lighthouse Streaming, and you're watching Centex Sports Network.
My name is Centex.
Hello and welcome back into Centex Primetime. Want to welcome everybody in here today. I am your host, Jalen Gillis, bringing you the primetime topics in sports, not just here in the Central Texas area, but from all around the nation. Want to thank everybody for tuning in with us here today on Centex Primetime and on Centex Sports Network. If you haven't already, go over to the YouTube, Centex Sports TV/Centex Sports Network. Hit that subscribe button. Also, click the bell so you can get notified when we go live here 5 to 7 p.m. right here on Centex Sports Network. We're also live on Facebook, Centex Sports Network, and over as well on X or Twitter, whichever one you decide to call it, at Centex Sports Network over on there as well. Well, folks, we got a full show here today. As you can see, I am joined in studio by a few guests here, familiar faces on the show. To my left here, we've got Mr. Rocky Miller in the building with us. Rocky, what's going on?
Hey, what's up? This is I'm Rocky Miller, Waco High class of 1988.
Oh, man, here he go. He let him know. Well, let's get some other Waco ISD classes in here.
I like the way it's going, yeah.
Mr. Cedric Agahart in the house with us as well. Sam, what's going on, bro?
Cedric Agahart, Waco High School class of 1988.
Okay. They doing the NBC intros, y'all, for Sunday Night Football, as we can see, to start the show off. But we want to thank everybody for tuning in with us here today on Centex Primetime. We've got a lot to cover here today. As you all know, the NBA playoffs are in full effect. We've got a few more game twos tonight. We got to see what in the world the Lakers are going to do. How are they going to bounce back from this? Damian Lillard supposedly coming back. That game coming on in about 30 minutes as the Milwaukee Bucks try to get a win in game 2 versus the Indiana Pacers. And, of course, we had the Clips versus the Nuggets last night. Also had the New York Knicks getting taken down by Detroit basketball. The Detroit Pistons get their first playoff win since 2008. Was the last time they got their playoff win. I believe 4 or 5 of their players were in elementary school whenever they won their last playoff game. They're able to get that playoff win today. We'll talk about that. But mainly today, we are going to talk some NFL draft here today, folks. The NFL draft is on Thursday, just a couple of days away. And this is one of the more interesting drafts for all of the mock draft type of people to try to do, because nobody really knows what's going on. Everybody assumes we're going to get, the cookie cutter 1, 2, 3, and 4 of who we think is going to go. But as reports have come out, the Giants are supposedly interested in shopping their pick, along with the Cleveland Browns are interested in shopping their pick. So we got to talk about all of that. We'll talk about some NFL draft breakdown, and we will talk about the games tonight as well. 3 playoff games here tonight in the NBA. We got the Indiana Pacers versus the Bucks at 6. At 6:30, we get the Grizzlies versus the Oklahoma City Thunder. Hopefully they don't get blown out by 50 again like they did on that good old Easter Sunday. And we've got the Lakers closing us out versus the Timberwolves as they try to pick up a win. Well, fellas, before we dive into this NFL draft, I want to touch a little bit about a couple of those games last night. First, I want to start talking about the Los Angeles Clippers getting the win. First off, if you have, like I said earlier, you need to subscribe on here to the YouTube, because yesterday I gave y'all the blueprint if you were trying to get your last-minute bets in, your last-minute picks in. I told y'all Clips is going to win this one, and obviously I picked the Detroit Pistons as well to get that win on the road to New York. But last night the Clippers in the night game got a 105-102 victory over the Denver Nuggets. Kawhi Leonard was sensational once again, 15 for 19 in the game, 39 points, 4 from 7 from the three-point line. Kawhi Leonard back in playoff form. James Harden chipped in 18 points and 7 assists as well. Big Zubac had 16 and 12 as well, still giving Jokic some problems down low. On the Nuggets side, looks the same for Nikola Jokic, 26 points, 12 rebounds, 10 assists, regular walk in the park for Nikola Jokic. The different part is 7 turnovers to chime in with that. I believe that kind of affected the game somewhat as well. Jamal Murray had 23 points in that game, but never really got into a full rhythm in that game as well. And we didn't see as much from the others like we saw in game 1 from the Denver Nuggets. So the Clippers able to come out with the win behind a crazy effort from Kawhi Leonard, who we all know when healthy is one of the best players in the NBA.
When healthy.
Yeah, when healthy is the biggest part of that whole conversation. Said when you saw the game last night and you saw Kawhi come out there and dominate, Clips able to get a win. What do you feel about the win last night and then the overall series now tied at 1-1?
Well, I think the Clippers are the best, the deeper team in the series. So I wasn't surprised to see the win. I was surprised to see the Kawhi back into that, that old Toronto Raptor Kawhi where he literally carried teams on his back.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that in a long time.
Yeah.
And it was good to see. It really was. But I think the problem with Denver is there's just no depth. When your best player off the bench is Russell Westbrook at this stage of his career, right? You never gonna know what you can.
Shot at Russ.
Yeah.
I'm not a Russell fan.
Okay.
But don't get me wrong, he's had a fantastic NBA career. Absolutely fantastic. I never knew what a triple-double looked like until I saw Russell Westbrook put up one every night that season, right? In OKC. But I just think that, and Denver also, they're in a little bit of a flux at the top. It never makes any sense to me why you fire a head coach and you're about to go into the playoffs.
Yeah.
So that just shows you the level of dysfunction that's in Denver, and don't think that doesn't trickle down to the players.
Well, I agree with you, Sid, in this regard. You have to come off the bench with more than just Russell Westbrook. You got, you mentioned the Clippers. The Clippers have some bigs they can bring off the bench. They have some other wing players.
Batum, Derrick Jones, all of those guys.
They can play. And they can get you some minutes. They can get you some minutes. And mainly what they can do is they can help defend some of the other players on Denver's team. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
Denver doesn't have anybody they can bring off the bench that has a chance against Kawhi. Like that, to me, it's always the reason why I said, it was going to be tough for Denver to win another championship after they let
KCP.
Bruce
Brown.
Bruce Brown go.
Yeah.
And then when they let KCP go, because what those guys could do is they could match up against those athletic wings that teams have, that all playoff teams have.
Yeah.
And they can give you enough scoring to kind of offset that. They're trying to use the Brown kid.
Christian Brown.
Christian Brown from Kansas. Man, he's no match for Kawhi.
Not even close.
I think he's a really good complementary player, but he doesn't give you anything. He doesn't provoke. Here's the thing about watching Kawhi.
Mm-hmm.
Is it wasn't that he scored 39 points. It looked whatever. The problem is it looked easy, and it looked like he wasn't expending much energy.
Very
you
efficient,
look for a guy at that age to kind of, if he's going to go for 39, you want it to be a rugged 39. You want it to wear his body down. You don't want it to be a walk in the park 39. And that's what that 39 looked like.
15 for 19 from the floor. Come on, man. That's crazy. Crazy.
That looked like a walk in the park.
Yeah.
I mean, it looked like dribble to my spot, pull up, boom. You know what I mean? So, again, I actually initially liked Denver in this series.
Mm-hmm.
But watching the first two games, I really changed my mind. I knew it was close.
Yeah.
But I really like Jokic. Jokic has morphed to one of my favorite players in the league. The one thing that you can't deny is kind of what said, is that the Clips are so deep.
Mm-hmm.
So deep. They have so many different ways that they can win basketball games. And after two games, I have to acknowledge that the Clippers may not win the series, but from top to bottom, they're the better team, no doubt.
Oh, yeah, they're definitely the better team. And I'm like, for all the reasons you listed and named is the reasons why I picked the Clippers to win this series before the series started. For one, nobody can guard Kawhi. That's just an easy, simple. And no one can guard James Harden. They only lost game one because of just extremely silly turnovers to go in that last 2 or 3 minutes of the game. But James Harden had 36 and 12 in game one. Like, they can't guard James. They can't guard Kawhi. And as great as Jokic is, and I'm like you, I've started to become a Jokic fan more and more as he's progressing through his career. But he's never been able to do anything with big men with size that know how to play. When he matches up with Joel Embiid, he gets demolished every time. He gets the better of Anthony Davis, but he's a lot bigger than Anthony Davis, and Anthony Davis still puts up similar numbers. His numbers are gonna look similar to what they are right now: 25 points, 10 rebounds, 10 assists. Because Zubac knows how to play. He makes him play defense, and when he's not gonna play defense, he's gonna get buckets, and he forces him to actually be a rebounder.
Well, with the team they have, let's be honest. An even game for Zubac is a 15 and 12 game.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that's an
100%.
even.
Yes.
If he scores 15 and 12 because the Nuggets aren't going to get a lot from their Aaron Gordon or Michael Porter Jr. They're just not getting a lot from those guys, right? And because those guys are playing against other athletic wing players.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? So, okay, you put those other athletic wing players in there. They have to guard them. They have to get defended. And so what? And it's almost, and you guys understand this. It's almost like when Iguodala was playing against LeBron back in the finals.
Yeah, 2015. Yeah,
2015 finals. To play LeBron even, Iguodala only had to score 15 points and get 5 assists because
5 boards, 5 assists.
Because of what all of his supporting cast was gonna do.
Absolutely.
Offensively, right? He just had to not get blown out or completely demolished by LeBron in the stat book. And that's what Zubac. Zubac just doesn't have to get demolished. If he doesn't get demolished on the stat line, it's even.
And when we're talking about in Zubac, we're talking about a 10-year vet.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not like this guy just got here.
Oh yeah, he can play.
And he's played basketball at a high level at his position. He's been I don't want to say elite rim protector, but he's definitely been a very.
He's had a career year this year for sure.
Well, let me say this. Let me say this, something that I have noticed because I hadn't watched a lot of Zubac. He doesn't possess the skill of Jokic by no means. Not even close.
Not even close.
But he's a better athlete.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Definitely.
And that's what has surprised me is that he's head and shoulders a better athlete than he has just, and this is something that I think will pay dividends later in the series. His motor is equal to
Jokic. Yeah.
His motor is equal to Jokic. Now, there's a lot of guys in the NBA that are high flying, very athletic, but they don't have the motor of a guy like a Jokic. But this Zubac guy, the first 2 games, he has the same kind of motor of Jokic. So Jokic is going to have to work on the offensive end, and he's also going to have to work on the defensive end.
Yeah. And that's how you keep Jokic from having a 40-point triple-double. You got to make him work.
He's still going to have that.
Well, I'm saying, but you got to make him work on the defensive end. And like you say, Zubac being a high energy big, he's capable of forcing him to do so.
Oh yeah. He's gonna. All he has to do is make Jokic work. Jokic, as great as he is, majority of the time, nobody makes him work. He's gonna demolish the Heat when they play in the finals because Bam is only gonna take 6 shots a game. He don't even have to work. He's got to be extremely aggressive on the rebound. I'm seeing Jokic actually jump for rebounds in this series. Usually we just see him plop down to Jokic and just put his hand up, plop one down. He's got to jump up in the air.
And the very interesting thing is that as long as Harden has the ball, not so much when Kawhi has the ball, when Harden has the ball, Jokic has to guard Zubac. Now,
you have to. Yeah.
Now, when Kawhi has the ball, not so much.
ISO, post wing.
Well, yeah, and he can help on Kawhi and stuff like that. But he can't help on, because soon as he makes a step toward Harden is tossing that thing in the air and letting Zubac.
And if you help, he's just kicking to a 3.
Yeah.
To Powell or Batum or one of them boys. We saw Batum.
We ain't mentioned Powell yet.
Yeah. That's why I think the Clippers just too much. The Denver Nuggets, like you alluded to, they don't have enough defenders. That's their biggest problem. I think since I can't remember what trade they made. Somebody happened right after the All-Star break. The Nuggets have been one of the worst defensive teams after the All-Star break in the entire league. I think they're like 20th or 29th.
That's why the coach was fired, to be honest with you.
I think that has a lot to do with it too. I think the personnel didn't help with that, but you know, the GM wanted them to go a different route and playing certain guys, and he's trying to get the most bang out of his buck with Russ and some of these other guys, but they really don't have anybody to go to.
And let's be honest, you know, you took a shot at my man Russ, but let's be honest. Game 1, they don't win that without Russ.
Absolutely,
They don't win that without Russ. So if without Russ, we're looking at a 0-2 series.
Without Russ, they'd be a 8th seed. I'm not gonna lie, because Murray missed half the season, and in that time, Russ was playing great.
The Murray injury.
Yeah,
So that's why
Russ was
that's
playing
why I say,
great.
Now again, you in game 1 you also saw it's funny. In game 1 you also saw the great enigma that is Russell Westbrook.
Yeah,
He makes the 3 in the corner.
doesn't even
to
get a
put
shot
you
off
up.
after that.
And then but here's the deal. They gave the ball to Russ in that situation, and I just think that's not the situation you give the ball
No.
It was a bad
to
play.
Russ in.
Russ at this point is almost off of instinct. It can't be run a play. I haven't seen a play ran for Russ in like 8 or 9 years. You can't run a play. It's kind of like AAU hooping. It's kind of just instinct and moving out for just your pure
he can
basketball
hang out in
skill.
the dunker spot, and he can hit the corner 3 like he did in title. But to your point, in that situation, Russ has 2 options in that situation: pull up for the jumper or dash to the cup.
And if you're the defense, I like both of those options. Whichever one you want to do, Russ, I'm cool with that. As long as somebody else is not shooting the ball, whatever you decide to do. But like you said, you saw the great. I mean, it's like a Mr. Hyde and Dr. Jekyll type of thing. Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde type of thing.
You saw the best of Russ.
He tried to give it away right after.
And here's the thing that I think Jokic appreciates, and then we can move on to the Detroit game, is that when I'm tired, when I'm need a break, you have someone that'll play with the energy and effort that I can appreciate, that can be appreciated.
Yeah.
That he'll go out there and put it all on the line. Murray is largely a jump shooter.
Yeah.
Offensively, he does some good work, but at the end of the day, he does his best work on the perimeter. And that doesn't help Jokic. Whereas with Russ dashing to the bucket. How many times we see Russ bang it off the backboard this year and Jokic get the rebound and for the follow?
Yeah.
I mean, because that energy and effort that Russ plays with is tremendous.
He knows how to initiate offense. Yes. Jamal Murray, even though he can get his own shot, he's not much of an offense initiator. He doesn't initiate offense. Jokic initiates all offense.
He plays a lot, and to be honest with you, he plays a lot like a Kawhi Leonard in that he's not a true playmaker. He can make plays, but his instinct isn't to get guys like Porter and Gordon involved in the game.
No,
his instinct is to get his own shot off.
To score.
So,
yeah, and that's what we've seen from them. So the Nuggets go down in game 2. They go 1-1. Zubac versus Jokic. We're starting to see a little bit more of that. Still one of the worst trades in NBA history. Obviously, Luka takes the spot for that. But one of the worst trades I've always said was when the Lakers traded Zubac and Mike Beasley to the Clippers for nothing, for Mike Muscala, and I think cash consideration, because Michael Beasley tried to punch somebody in the locker room. And the Clippers said, we're not just going to take Michael Beasley, give it somebody else. And they just looked at the end of the bench and said, this Zubac guy doesn't play. I sent him.
You can have him.
But he could have been on this entire run with Anthony Davis and all this, wouldn't have been playing the 5. That was always, to me, one of just the absolute dumbest trades.
And imagine what the Lakers would look like if they had still.
Come on, man. Zubac is a top 5 center in the league. I'm not going to lie. The way he played this year, Zubac is a top 5 center in the NBA.
Is that a flex?
It's some type of flex. It's not a Maybach flex. It's a Chrysler flex. It's a little bit of a flex.
It's a Charger.
Yeah. It's a Charger.
It's not a Bentley.
Yeah, it ain't a Bentley. You got a little Hellcat. It's a little bit of a flex. But so the Nuggets drop game 2. The Clippers regain home court advantage as they go back to LA for game 3 to be able to play against the Denver Nuggets. I like the Clippers in about 6 in this one, but we'll see as we move forward. And now I want to go over to the other game that happened last night. The Detroit Pistons, like I said earlier in the show opener, get their first win since 2008 in the playoffs. They went over the Knicks 100-94. They tried as hard as they could towards the end of this game to get this game back to New York, but they were able to withstand the punches. A huge 3 with a minute and a half left made by Dennis Schroeder. I think that was one of the sneaky best pickups made at the trade deadline was Dennis Schroeder going to the Detroit Pistons. He brings that edge to that team. He's a vet. He's been under Chris Paul. He's been by Steph Curry. He's been around all the greats in the game. He's a guy that's won his entire career and now bringing that same experience to Detroit. Cade Cunningham, yeah, and he does like to shoot. Cade Cunningham did phenomenal in this game. 33 points, 12 rebounds in this game. He had a couple assists to go along with it. Malik Beasley, another great game. Or Dennis Schroeder, another great game off the bench. 20 points. He went 6 for 10 from the floor in that game. Tobias Harris also played great. 15 points and 13 rebounds. As the Pistons get a win over the New York Knicks, there's a couple things I took away from this game. One being, and I'll get you guys' opinion on it. One being, Detroit, I feel like can almost match the offensive output put out by the New York Knicks, not because they matched them talent-wise, because the New York Knicks bench is just an absolute joke. We talked about the Nuggets bench, but at least they have Russell Westbrook. The Knicks only play 8 guys, and the only guy that ever even shoots the ball off the bench is Cam Payne. And if he's not playing well, then the Knicks are going to lose. Karl Anthony Towns, the second piece is Cat's looking just like he did in Minnesota. Everybody's acting surprised and saying, man, he didn't want to get in the post last night. Sometimes they guarding him with Malik Beats. Isn't this the exact reason why the Timberwolves lost in the Western Conference Finals last year? They were putting they were putting Derrick Jones on Karl Anthony Towns, and he wouldn't shoot the ball. He wants to take threes. Same thing we're seeing now. Last point being, it looks like the attrition of the Coach Tibbs teams that we see every year is already kicking in on this team. Karl Anthony Towns looks sluggish. Mikal Bridges looks sluggish. Some of these guys already look like they're tired because they play 45 minutes a night for 82 games. What'd you think about, Rocky? I'll start with you about the game last night and how the Knicks looked.
So when we talk about the Knicks, you pointed out, I think, brilliantly that Tibbs' bench is underutilized. I don't think it's a bad bench. I'll say this: without I think Cameron Payne, the first game one, they don't win.
Oh, they don't win that without him.
So
Sure.
I mean, you may have to extend those minutes of those guys. You may have to extend minutes because you got guys who can score, who can initiate offense. But when Cat and Brunson is on the court, those guys are going to be your guys that demand the ball. You have to have. I love those second lineups where you let a bench guy kind of lead the offense because it reminds me of an era where you had guys like Vinnie Johnson. You don't know if y'all
microwave.
remember
We microwave for sure.
Out
of Baylor.
Absolutely. You had even further back, you got guys like Jamal Wilkes who could come off the bench for the Lakers that could lead the scoring. And I think those kind of teams allow your superstars to kind of rest, recuperate. I watched so many LeBron teams where they didn't have a second scorer. They didn't have that scorer that could come in on the second unit. And so LeBron had to play extended minutes.
They got to stagger minutes between him and the second star.
Yeah. So that's the one thing that even though Austin Reeves is a starter, that's what makes him being a third scorer so brilliant.
Oh, yeah.
It's because he can, and of course LeBron is comfortable playing off the ball now. Like you can let a guy like that lead offensively while LeBron kind of sits back and plays off of him. The problem here's another thing about going back to the Knicks is that the Knicks play a point guard who I believe cannot usually defensively match up against
anybody
a capable offensive player.
No.
So with that being, then he has to score 39, 40 points to really make his impact on the game when he's playing against another capable offensive player like Cade Cunningham. Let's be honest. Cade Cunningham had a bad game, and they still almost won last game. Brunson can't have a bad game. Cat can't have a bad game and expect those guys to be anywhere near winning the game. So another interesting situation where watching two games, I'm not a basketball expert, but from the naked eye, it looks like Detroit is the better team.
Yeah, I think they're constructed better. I think the Knicks, because of the lack of bench use, just aren't constructed well. Starting five-wise, they have one of the best starting fives in the league, but with the way that their bench goes, they don't have that Lou Will, and like you said, they don't have that six-man type of guy. Most of these championship teams, the Warriors dynasty, you always gonna have
Jamal
Sean
Crawford
Livingston.
type dudes.
Yeah, the Sean Livingston's coming in for the Warriors. When you think about the Spurs, Ginobili's always gonna come off the bench. When you think you need that second punch, and the Knicks don't have a second, third, fourth. They don't have anything coming off the bench because they don't even play. I think their
They
bench
can
guys
carry
played a
you
total
in
of
the middle of the second quarter for about 6 to 8 to 10 minutes.
exactly.
While
Give
the-
Brunson
yeah.
a rep, man. Brunson's
I
usage is so
think-
high.
I think the one thing that we're overlooking
Mhm.
is the brilliance of Bickerstaff.
Yes, great
I-
coach.
I'm not going to say that Detroit has a better roster. But I think the rosters are fairly even,
Mhm.
honestly. Especially when you factor in the youth that Detroit has.
Yeah.
But the way that he's using his roster is way better than the way Thibodeau's using his roster because he's willing to go 10 deep,
Yeah.
11 deep.
If
know
you got to
what I mean?
find a guy that can play, yeah.
Yeah, and the way that Bickerstaff has led this team, because honestly, this is a team that nobody expected to do anything again because of their youth. They're like, well, maybe 2 years from now down the road.
They just broke the record for most losses last year.
Yeah.
So yeah, in a row.
So I think what we're seeing is the extension of the great job that Bickerstaff had done this year with this team all season long.
Yes, all season long. Coach Bickerstaff, somebody I think is in that consideration for Coach of the Year. I know he's doesn't have more wins than Kenny Atkinson and Cleveland and all these, but I mean they just broke the record for most consecutive wins in a row last year, and now they're in the playoffs with, like Rocky said, a chance to be able to win this series. I didn't like this Knicks team, man. I know not everybody, but lots of people are fans of Coach Tibbs. I've never been a fan of Coach Tibbs. He literally runs his players into the dirt year after year. I said this in October, that the Knicks have a great roster, but if Tibbs does not change the way he coaches, they're going to lose. Just like they lost last year. By the time they made it to the Eastern Conference semifinals last year, I think their entire starting five was hurt.
Tibbs is a great defensive mind.
Yes,
He really
absolutely.
is. His teams are going to always play great defense.
Mhm.
But the other side of that is they're going to play 45 minutes a game.
Every game, no matter the score. I've watched games this year where the Knicks have been up by 15 or 20 in the fourth,
And they're still in there.
the starters are on their 43rd minute and they're still playing. Like, what are we doing, Tibbs? I never got that. Go ahead.
So, no, I'm just saying I'm looking at the rosters, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I just think, and what I'm saying, I think the rosters are pretty much equal, right? But I think Caden Cunningham provides you with a little more.
He's the best
That
player in this
Brunson.
series.
Yeah, he's definitely
Right.
He's the best player in this series.
Agreed.
When,
Agreed.
okay, so if we say Kate, then the Knicks' top two players, I would say they were right behind Cade Cunningham and whatever. But probably the next 5 players are all Pistons, because I would say Tim Hardaway, Tobias Harris, Dennis Schroeder. I mean, all those guys are going to be, to me, better than maybe Obi's.
I think the Knicks have a better starting 5 than them. I think the Knicks have one of the best starting 5s in there. But first, there's only one basketball. So Mikal Bridges gets neutralized by the addition of Karl Anthony Towns because now we see Mikal Bridges go from a 20-point a game, 18 points a game type of guy to more like 10 points and barely getting shots up because Cat's got to take shots. OG can get 15 to 20 points, but the roles are going to equal the same. Cade Cunningham is the best player in the series, so that's going to get them the edge. Because the role players, if Cat's going to play like a role player like he did yesterday and get 10 points, the Pistons are going to win.
Yeah, and that's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Cat is not playing like a superstar.
That's why the Timberwolves lost last year.
That's why they lost. Last
And
year.
that's why
he disappeared.
Well,
He
well,
disappeared.
I have to. Last night he did a great job in the first quarter getting on the block. They just go away from him.
He didn't take a shot in the second half. He didn't take one field goal attempt. He only shot the ball 9 times.
That's Brunson's call, man.
Cat got to go and get the ball off the rim or something.
at
He
some
didn't even
point-
take a shot.
At some point, you gotta go to.
You didn't go for a
I
tip in.
know people love Brunson, but I absolutely hate his.
Yeah, I do too. I do too. He irritates me
I think he's.
At some point,
I
if you
get
can in the
what you're
second
saying.
half, at some point, shouldn't you demand the ball? Hey, listen, what are we doing?
Well,
Brunson
the
ain't
ball.
playing the whole second half. It's moment. I watched it. It's moments in there where Cat is in the game, and
No,
Brunson's not in the game. You're not even calling for the ball.
Well, sure.
You're touching the ball, and you're not even putting it in the air.
Yeah, you got to call for the ball.
It's not like he didn't touch it the whole second half. He touched it. He's not shooting it. He's not. But this is exactly what we saw last year. He had Derrick Jones guarding him in the post, and he won't shoot the ball. This is
now, I
what
will
Cat.
say
This is what Cat done.
Those big guys for Detroit are pretty sturdy.
Jalen Duren, yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
You don't want
sure.
to get close to those guys because
No.
they gonna lean on you.
Yeah.
Which that's what they should do. But I think Cat is a player that you have to play to. You have to play to him. To your point, going back to last year, in those tight playoff games, those super hyper competitive playoff games,
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of hard. His game is set up where it's hard to play to a guy that you can put a smaller. Now this is just my opinion. You can put a smaller player on Cat and do a pretty decent job defensively on him.
Yes.
Because he won't then turn and go to the post. Like you can put a 6'8" guy on him, and he may not have the advantage outside that he would have on another 6'10" guy.
Yeah. And it was times last night that he getting guarded by Tim Hardaway Jr. and/or Tobias Harris.
You got to take those guys.
But come on, you have to shoot the ball. I don't care what the play is. You have to shoot the ball.
But you want to take him in the post though.
Yeah, but he'll get it around him. But first of all, he barely posts because he don't want to do no post work.
Well, at the
won't
beginning of the game last night, he had two really nice post moves, and I thought that was mid post, I would say.
And every other time he caught it after that, he almost at the 3-point line.
And then that's the biggest problem with his game that I have, because he's a very talented player.
Yeah,
we understand that. He won't take when he's guarded by a smaller defender, he won't take him down into the post.
That's the difference between him and Joel Embiid. I feel like him and Joel Embiid, I mean, obviously they came out right after each other, but him and Joel Embiid, I feel like are very similar players on the skill set as far as what they can do offensively. They both can shoot from anywhere on the floor. They can score from all three levels on the floor. The difference is ain't nobody 6 anything. If you're not a 7-footer, nobody 6 anything is getting on Joel Embiid, and he's not going to put you in that post and going to score. And he's going to score every time. He'll do it 10 times in a row if you give it to him. That's the biggest difference with Cat, man. I don't know what that is, but the Knicks, I think they're out of options. They've already showed their hand, in my opinion. At this point, the only way the Knicks will win this is based off the inexperience of the Pistons, because we watched the Pistons try to get that game back to them last night when they had a 12-point lead with like 3 or 4 minutes left, and they got it all the way back to being a tied game. Only way the Knicks win this series is off of inexperience. Jalen Brunson is too inefficient of a player. He got 37, but you went 12 for 27. You had to be a free throw merchant for you to even get to that 37. He went 9 from 11 from the free throws. And if no one else is going to be aggressive, they're out of options.
And I was going to say, isn't there a scenario that exists to where maybe they get a little bit more out of OG?
Yeah, that's where I'm going to go to. He's not scared to shoot it.
I say he has offensive prowess.
He had 20-something in game 1.
Yeah. Well, see, that's where I always say OB is fool's gold in this regard. He's a guy that really, in that 20-point game, I think he hit 4 or 5 threes.
Yeah,
that's sure. Not a guy athletic as Obi. You want him making his marks on more than one part of the game. You don't want him to just be a jump shooter.
No,
you want him to get about 3 threes. You want him to get about 2 or 3 putbacks. You want to do some isos when he gets matched when he has a matchup.
Mm-hmm.
And if he's doing the game like that, it creates opportunity. When he's relegated to a guy that's just a spot-up shooter, I think you lose a lot because he's an athletic player.
Yeah. And Mikal Bridges can also another guy that can score. He had 19 last night, but nobody. The only true scorers they have on the team are Karl Towns and Jalen Brunson.
I believe that Brunson is way too ball dominant.
His usage rate is always way too. But that's Tibbs. That's how Tibbs runs his team. It's going to be a ball dominant guard. It's going to be a post up forward guy. This is the first year he's ever went away from this formula. It's been the exact same since 2008 or 2009 when he became the head coach of the Bulls.
He's had better guys though.
He has, but it's the same formula no matter where he goes. Ball dominant point guard, shot blocking 5-man, post 4. He did it with Derrick Rose, Carlos Boozer, and Joakim Noah. He did it again with he did it the same way when he had Julius Randle, Jalen Brunson, high usage guard. He did the same thing in Minnesota when he had Cat and all those guys the first time, and he runs those guys into the ground. I think it's a coaching thing. I think the Knicks just, if you refuse to play your bench, you're going to lose, and that's what it is. He's refusing. Landry Shamet can play a little bit. We've seen Landry Shamet come in and play on some playoff teams before. He can shoot the ball.
He's a shooter.
Campaign has proven he can play. Miles McBride has proven he can play. He refuses to play these guys. They're playing. I think Shamet had 2 minutes he played last night.
Yeah.
I'd like to see. How many minutes did Cameron Payne play last night?
Cameron Payne played 4.
To me, he earned. More.
After he won them in the game one.
He earned more minutes than that.
It's Tibbs, man. Tibbs is just not a championship coach, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. But Tibbs is just not a championship coach moving forward. What do you think about this going forward from here, though? I'll start with you, Rocky. Pistons and Knicks. It's tied 1-1. They're going back to Detroit.
I think it's still a coin flip, but at this point, with the Pistons going home, I have to take the Pistons in this series.
Said, what you think?
Yeah, I think the Pistons are better coached.
For sure, I definitely think that.
I'm definitely going with Detroit. Then you were able to steal one on the road and go home 1-1. That's what you want.
But you got to remember, this is playoffs. You just one sprained ankle, or from these series kind of really changing.
That showed a lot last year.
And again, been watching the NBA a long time.
Mm-hmm.
It happens. It not always happens to the stars. Sometimes it happens to a role player that really impacts the game.
A critical role player.
Yeah, that really impacts the game, and so yeah.
And the other thing that I like about
Detroit, we need
Detroit,
McMillan to sprain his ankle.
Yeah. The other thing I like about Detroit is even though they're young, they're not too young for the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And that because initially I had the Knicks because I was using
me too.
youth against them, but they showed this spotlight is not too bright for us. We're ready to go. So yeah, I like the Pistons.
Yeah, I'm rooting for the Pistons. I still like the Knicks in this series, but I mean, it's just by the slimmest margin possible, and it's only because of what you just spoke to said, and that's the youth and inexperience of this Pistons team. Because even last night, when they pretty much dominated from start to finish, they tried their hardest to blow the game at the end of the game. I'm like, man, they just cannot get away from those silly mistakes or silly plays. But Dennis Schroeder is what changed that. He was able to come in and calm that team down. I think he's a huge, huge piece. He's probably the X factor of this entire series for both teams is Dennis Schroeder. When he can come out and show that leadership, I think he's going to be huge for them. So the Pistons get a win 100-94 over the New York Knicks yesterday. They go to 1-1. Both series yesterday tied at 1-1. Folks, we got 3 NBA games coming on tonight. One of them about to tip off, the Milwaukee Bucks versus the Indiana Pacers. Also got the Grizzlies and OKC and Minnesota and the Lakers. We'll talk about that here in just a second. We're going to a quick break for hour number 2. When we come back, we'll touch on that and we'll break down our NFL draft picks, how we think this top 10, top 15 is going to go in this NFL draft. We'll be right back after this short break. Stay tuned and stay locked in right here on Centex Primetime.
My name is Tashay Saitis. I'm a music major at MCC, and I'm so happy to be here. It's crazy how I got here.
My name is Emily Adams. I'm the marketing director for the Texas Asphalt Pavement Association. We are here at our 3rd annual MAPS conference at the Waco Convention Center in beautiful Waco, Texas. I think the event has exceeded all of our expectations. We had an amazing turnout and great sessions and nothing but positive feedback. So this is our first conference in a convention center, and I'm used to working with hotels where there's like one person to talk to for everything. And so at the last minute, we realized we needed audio and video services. And so I contacted Lighthouse Streaming and Audio, and they were very quick to respond. They were able to, even though it was the last minute, they were able to fit us into their schedule, and they provided us with technicians and equipment to record our sessions, and we'll be able to provide the people who are speaking at those sessions with great video of themselves. I would highly recommend them. I highly recommend Lighthouse Streaming and Audio. I had nothing but a pleasant experience, and if we come back to Waco again, which we hope to do, I know I'll be in touch with them.
Hello, my name is Roy Gillis, founder and CEO of Lighthouse Streaming. Over the last 4 years, we've had some tremendous successes, none of which could have been accomplished without you, our clients, and our viewers. From my family and the staff of Lighthouse Streaming, thank you. Hello, my name is Roy Gillis, CEO of Lighthouse Streaming, and you're watching Centex Sports Network.
My name is Tashay Sayes. I'm a music major at MCC, and I'm so happy to be here. It's crazy how I got here.
My name is Emily Adams. I'm the marketing director for the Texas Asphalt Pavement Association. We are here at our 3rd annual MAPS conference at the Waco Convention Center in beautiful Waco, Texas. I think the event has exceeded all of our expectations. We had an amazing turnout and great sessions and nothing but positive feedback. So this is our first conference in a convention center, and I'm used to working with hotels where there's like one person to talk to for everything. And so at the last minute, we realized we needed audio and video services. And so I contacted Lighthouse Streaming and Audio, and they were very quick to respond. They were able to, even though it was the last minute, they were able to fit us into their schedule, and they provided us with technicians and equipment to record our sessions, and we'll be able to provide the people who are speaking at those sessions with great video of themselves. I would highly recommend them. I highly recommend Lighthouse Streaming and Audio. I had nothing but a pleasant experience, and if we come back to Waco again, which we hope to do, I know I'll be in touch with them.
Hello, my name is Roy Gillis, founder and CEO of Lighthouse Streaming. Over the last 4 years, we've had some tremendous successes, none of which could have been accomplished without you, our clients, and our viewers. From my family and the staff of Lighthouse Streaming, thank you. Hello, my name is Roy Gillis, CEO of Lighthouse Streaming, and you're watching Centex Sports Network.
My name is Tashay Sayes. I'm a music major at MCC, and I'm so happy to be here. It's crazy how I got here.
My name is Emily Adams. I'm the marketing director for the Texas Asphalt Pavement Association.
Hello and welcome back
We are
into
here at our
Centex
3rd annual MAPS conference at the
I
Waco
am your
Convention
host,
Center.
Jalen Gillis here, and hour number 2 of the show today, still joined in studio by Mr. Rocky Miller, also Cedric Eigerhart in the building with us as we just got done talking about those games last night. Detroit Pistons getting a win over the New York Knicks last night in New York. We talked about the Denver Nuggets dropping a game to the Los Angeles Clippers. They'll head back to L.A., tied 1-1 with the home court advantage swinging towards the Los Angeles Clippers. Want to thank everybody for tuning in and watching with us here today, whether that is on YouTube, Centex Sports Network / Centex Sports TV, or on Facebook at Centex Sports Network, and also on X or Twitter at Centex Sports TV on there as well. Want to thank you guys for tuning in with us. Folks, going to talk a little bit about these games here tonight. Before we do that, I want to dive into some NFL draft talk, folks, while I've got 2 NFL aficionados here locally here, Mr. Rocky Miller, Mr. Ced Eigerhart in the building with us here today.
Shannon Sharp's trouble.
As we seen the news of Shannon Sharp. Hey, I don't know what to make about this.
I'm disappointed, man.
Hey, man, I feel like this is another shakedown, man. But you got
it is a shakedown.
Exactly what it
but
is.
could you get shooken down by that?
Man, I'm disappointed in. I seen him make a statement and come out and say, they have a video or something like that, and they're not showing the whole video. It's an edited video. My thing is, hey, Shannon, can you stop recording, bro? You on enough TV. Can you just stop recording yourself? You're recording everything. You're recording too much, buddy. I need you to hit that red.
That.
I don't know what happened. He just said they have a video.
No,
and
he says Tony Busby and his team has a video, a 30-second video. That should have been about 10 minutes long. That's what he said.
But what they set up a PTZ or did you record it? Did they set up one of them little spy cams and record it?
Self-promoting guys like Shannon Sharp get no sympathy from me when they get caught up in stuff like this.
Man, I just,
I mean, you crave the attention, right?
You done already went live. No, you good. You good. You done already went live and stuff, man. I don't know if you don't need no more videos coming out. Exactly. Shay. So hopefully it's just a shakedown. Mr. Busby is known for doing the shakedowns. He tried it on Jay-Z. He shook Deshaun Watson all the way down.
I think he got some on Diddy too.
Yeah. I think he was part of. He's a little bit on everybody. I'm just like,
he had some clients that sued.
Yeah, that sued him as well, and all those people, Jay-Z and all those different guys. Like, man, it's. Tony, you sure do got a type for who you want to try to go after, bro.
Well,
I
just say this, man, and Shannon is probably one of my favorite media personalities.
Yeah, he's hilarious.
But I think anytime a 56-year-old man is dealing with a 19-year-old woman, it's trouble.
You should expect trouble, man.
It's trouble.
You should expect trouble.
And I'm a 55-year-old man.
Yeah.
And so easy for me to say I don't have near the money or the fame that he has or whatever.
I just think as a good rule of thumb, don't date women who are the same age as your children.
No. Who are the same age as your grandchildren?
Yeah,
his kids is 30 something.
Yeah, I'm saying his kids is not good.
His kids, come on, Shay, you got to
because if you found out another man was doing that to your granddaughter,
you'd be mad.
Sit well with
no. See, I know what it was. It's all them HBCU tours him and Stephen A went on. You went back to the college campus and started seeing a little something, Shay, and you said, "Oh man, they didn't look like this back in the day."
That ain't on the HBCU.
No, it ain't. That ain't even. That don't even look like it was on an American tour. I don't know where they coming from.
Yeah, man. That's not on the HBCU tour.
No, he did not get them. That did not come from Tuskegee.
No, that's not FAMU.
No,
that's not Jackson State.
No, sir.
Not Southern.
No, sir.
Prairie View, Grambling.
None of the above.
TSU.
None of the above. Did he go to get that? Hey, while we doing that, let me just go ahead and throw up a shameless plug there. Rocky, what y'all talking about tonight on the HBCU?
Hey, man, we talking about
HBCUs.
stars. We talking about stars at the FCS level taking the NIL bag to only go to the Division I schools for the NIL bag and not get a chance to showcase their talents. We're also going to discuss, is old school coaching still relevant today? And then we're going to talk about how HBCUs should leverage their social media to promote their schools and sports. So I look forward to having that conversation. We'll have it at about 8 o'clock in about 2 hours. So make sure you tune in to HBCU Coaches Corner on the Rocky Miller YouTube page. You can also catch us on Facebook as well. And don't forget Twitter.
Most definitely tune in. I think that's a great point, man. I feel like
Centex Network.
Centex Sports Network. It will also be live there. So make sure you tune in to HBCU Coaches Corner. That's at 8 o'clock. And like you brought up a great point in the social media on marketing these HBCUs, because I've always felt like HBCUs need to market more campus lifestyle in order to get some of these athletes, because you're not going to find any better campus lifestyle than any of these HBCUs. You're not going to find it at Duke. You're not going to find it at these nice establishments in Alabama and in the middle of Tuscaloosa. You're not going to find it on these campuses, but you will find it on these HBCU campuses.
You find the same kind of trouble Shannon Sharp found.
Yeah, the same type of trouble, just a little bit darker flavor, like Deion said.
No, I'm just talking about at Tuscaloosa.
Tuscaloosa, you'll find some of that. But if you want, like Deion said, the dark chocolate trouble, go on down to some of the HBCUs, man. But HBCU Coaches Quarter coming on at 8 o'clock. Y'all tune in for that. Folks, I want to get into this NFL draft. It is on Thursday. We are around the corner. We've been talking about it for a while. I want to talk about some of these top 10 picks and talk about what do we think is going to happen in this NFL draft. Everybody has their own version of what they think is going to happen. And obviously the reports came out from Peter Schrager, I believe, who ESPN just acquired from NFL Network. I think that was a big pickup for ESPN. But he said he got some reports that the Cleveland Browns and the New York Giants have been entertaining calls for their pick at 2 and 3. So let's go. Let's just dive into this, folks. Number 1 pick, obviously, it's the Tennessee Titans. They can either pick Travis, Cam Ward, Shador, or Abdul Carter, or they can trade this pick. Do we all think that Cam Ward is going to be the number 1 quarterback taken at number 1, or the number 1 player taken at quarterback for the Tennessee Titans? I believe so. I think that's where Tennessee is going. I think they've kind of shut off some of their other workouts and some of the people they're trying to look into because they're set on going with Cam Ward. Rocky, I'll start with you, man. What do you think Tennessee's doing here?
They have a deal in place with Cam Ward already. If you notice, he's not been making any noise in you know, I trust that that's solidified, that they're going to take Cam Ward. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. I wouldn't take Cam Ward, number one. I would try to move down, or take Abdul Carter, and then because you can come back in the second round and get another decent quarterback. There'll be the Quinn Ewers of the world and stuff will be there. But if you're sold on Cam Ward, if that's your guy, then go ahead and take him. I don't believe that there's such a thing as being overdrafted. If you're on the clock and there's a guy that you just are sold on, and it's your pick, go ahead and take him. So if they're sold on Cam Ward, it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, I think Tennessee is sold on Cam Ward. It's not that I'm not a fan of Cam Ward. I think Shador is the better prospect out of the two of each other. They're sold on Cam Ward, and we've seen a lot of scrutiny around, not scrutiny, but, just a lot of conversation around Shador as far as where he could fall. We just talked about some of those props that they've got put up for the NFL draft, and they got him over and under being the 11th pick or not. So that shows you where the betting favorite has him going lower down in the draft. The Giants are still at play there, and there's some other teams at play. But at number one, I'll stick with that. I think Cam Ward is going to be the guy that Tennessee takes there. If they were to trade down, you mentioned the trade. Who do you think, how far does Tennessee trade if they do decide to trade down?
I think Tennessee could trade down as far as the 11th pick with Frisco because they're having problems re-signing Brock Purdy. It looks like Brock Purdy wants something that starts with a 5.
Yeah.
And they're like, I don't know, Brock. So I think they could go down as far as 11 and have Frisco move up to get the quarterback that they want, whether it's Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders.
Yeah, I think Cam. I think they're going to stick with this pick, and like both of you guys said, I think Cam Ward will probably be that guy. But I think the trades and the kind of wacky stuff that can happen on draft night starts to come right after that, after Tennessee gets their pick. And that's sitting at number 2 with the Cleveland Browns. I've seen Shador going to Cleveland. I've seen Travis going to Cleveland. I've seen Abdul Carter going to Cleveland. I've seen Cleveland trading their pick down all the way as far as 11, like you said. Cleveland is a very interesting one. I think when it comes down to it, I don't see them letting Travis Hunter get out of their reach there at number 2. I think they know he's a generational talent. I think they know that quarterback won't fix everything that they have, and they don't believe that either one of these quarterbacks will be able to fix all the things they have, like a Shador and a Cam. I don't think they think that if we just put them in there, it'll erase these other problems. So let's get the best available player. The best available player is the guy that just won the Heisman Trophy, and that's Travis Hunter. I think that's where Travis goes to at number 2. I'll go back to you, Said. At number 2, what do you think Cleveland's doing here?
I think, once again, I think Cleveland would be better served trading back because they have so many needs. Even though a guy like Travis Hunter, who people are saying you get a 2-for-1 when you pick Travis Hunter, I don't think that he's going to solve all their needs. They got a lot of problems.
Yeah.
Quarterback being one of them. But I think that with Cleveland, they're so heavily leveraged, in terms of salary, with the re-signing of Myles Garrett, and they're still having the burden of the Deshaun Watson contract. I don't know if Cleveland is ready to even field a roster this year that's going to be competitive. So at this point, I think the best thing you can do with this pick, because it's valuable at 2, it's a very valuable pick. I think the best value you can get out of this pick is just trade out of it.
Is move back, and we're seeing the reports that a lot of people are saying Cleveland could be an option to be able to trade back because of what you just said, all these holes that they have on their team. Rock, what you thinking? What does Cleveland do here at number 2 with their pick here?
I think it's for them it's an easy pick. I think they're in the talent acquisition space. Best talent in the draft is Travis Hunter.
Yeah.
He feels a wide receiver need for them, and I think for them the draft is just getting started once they get Travis Hunter. They're looking. I think they're looking to do some things, something else. They have next year's pick, which I firmly believe that there are teams that would take next year's pick and give you this year's pick.
For sure.
So,
For sure.
So let's look at a team. So let's look at if we get all the way down to, say number 8 with Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
With them being in a situation where they could have the top pick next year,
Mm-hmm.
would they get in a situation where they'd say, okay, we'll trade our 26th first round pick for Cleveland for our
First round pick this year.
yes, and then they come up and get Shador. Again, those are the kind of things that I think are going to happen because there are teams that are. You got to remember you got Arch Manning coming out potentially coming out next year.
Yeah, Cade Klubnik will be coming out next year.
You got some guys coming out next year. Teams that have what I would consider questionable quarterback situations. And so that could start sooner. That kind of maneuvering could start sooner. But I don't suspect Shador will get past 8. To be honest,
You think somebody will trade up, or you think Carolina will take him with number 8?
no, I think someone is going to trade up.
Okay,
before then.
yeah. So do I. I think Carolina.
Yeah,
not
because the Jackson Dart stuff sounds a lot like the what's the guy that New England drafted a few years
Drake
back?
May.
No.
A few years back.
Before Drake May. What are you talking about?
Mac Jones.
Mac Jones.
yeah.
there you go.
The Jackson Dart stuff sounds a lot like the Matt Jones stuff. And remember, Matt Jones was going all the way up at 3 at one point.
Mm-hmm. It was a shock to me that he went 15 to the Patriots.
But what was happening is, I think there was a number of guys looking at, if I'm not mistaken, you guys correct me if I'm wrong, there were a number of guys looking at Trey Lance. Number of teams looking at Trey Lance.
Oh, yeah.
And they were hoping they could steal Trey Lance.
Mm-hmm.
But it had gotten uncovered that he was coveted by
San Francisco.
So therefore, San Francisco was going to have to move up in order to get him, and of course they did, and they moved up and got him. And I think that's the situation. I don't see in any real serious football organization that you take Jackson Dart over Shador Sanders.
No, I can't see any team in the NFL in that top 10 doing that, except for one team, and that's the New York Giants, because no one truly has no idea what the Giants would do. I don't think they would do it, but if they did it, would I just be utterly shocked?
I understand the Giants. So I understand the Giants taking a guy like Abdul Carter. If you believe Abdul Carter is Myles Garrett, with these two quarterbacks, I would take. I don't remember when Myles Garrett came out, but
2017, because he was in my high school class. So 2017 is when he got drafted.
There's some quarterbacks there. There were some quarterbacks in that draft, whoever was in that draft, that if you take Myles Garrett, if you can get to Myles Garrett, and I think people have to overvalue quarterbacks, especially quarterbacks on a rookie deal, because if you catch lightning in a bottle, you get the cap savings, all that kind of stuff. These guys are overdrafting these guys, and I believe Cam Ward and Shador have to be overdrafted as well. Possibly even a guy like Jackson Dart overdrafted. But if you're sitting where the Giants are sitting, and you don't like either quarterback, and you have either Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter pretty much guaranteed to you, just stand pat and take one of those guys, man.
Yeah, I think the Giants, when we talk about 1 and 2 moving back, I think the first team that's wanting to trade up will be the Giants.
So my question,
so they can get Travis Hunter, because You put Travis Hunter on the other side of Malik Neighbors. You got something. You already have veteran quarterback play.
Russell,
You know what I mean?
Jameis.
You got something.
So who do you move up and get? So when people say moving up,
Mhm.
it's not moving up for the sake of moving up. Who do you in this draft? Who do you move up the draft?
Travis.
Hunter. Travis
I
Hunter.
think all the reports have been a lot of teams are looking to move up, and it's not to get a quarterback.
Yeah,
It's to
Travis
get
Hunter.
Travis or Dual Carter,
You're not
and mainly
getting them at
Travis.
three.
So I'm
No,
saying,
that's
that's why I'm saying the
Cleveland.
Giants. I think Giants trade out with
Okay,
with Cleveland.
what? Okay,
Mhm.
as Cleveland, what trading partner do you take, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what do you get in return for giving up Travis Hunter? That's my point.
I don't see them doing that. I think the trade back is going
You
to.
understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, what are
I'm
you?
saying, But,
What?
but I think in Cleveland's case,
Mhm.
when you're a team that's so far off,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think. See, I don't think they think that.
I don't see how they can't think that.
No. So I don't think you pay a defensive end $40 million if you think you're far off.
No, I think you do that. Listen,
If you want,
we're talking
if you
about-
wanted draft picks, you could have saved yourself $40 million. They don't want.
I don't
draft
think they're
picks.
looking at next year. I don't think they think they're far off to the point of we're going to be number one pick again next year. But I don't think they're looking at next year as
How many
competitive
number one
years.
draft picks could they have gotten if they had traded?
three-
So that's what I'm saying. They
3 or
don't
4.
want draft picks. They want players.
Yeah, that's why. That's
You
why I think they're
understand?
taking Travis
You know what
too.
I'm saying?
point. I see
They
your
had
point.
they had an opportunity to get draft picks.
Yeah, they did.
They signed a guy that they didn't have to sign for $40 million. They believe they're close, or either they believe they're close, or the GM and the coach don't believe they have much runway.
And that's more of what it is.
I'll say
Kevin Stefanski
Yeah,
will
that's
be
what it is.
Kevin Stefanski will be gone next year if they go out there and they got a top 3 pick again. He's done. And
So-
Andrew Berry will be along with
and,
that.
and Andrew Berry is a terrible GM.
They're on thin ice.
I mean-
After that Deshaun trade,
Yeah.
So
the thinnest ice.
So this is what my deal with Cleveland. You go get Shador. I mean, you go get Travis,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you figure out a way as a GM to fix this Deshaun Watson situation
The one
with
that you
your fan base.
the one
with
that
your
the one that you
fan base,
created.
I don't know.
It's the same situation that you created.
with your fan base. But I don't think Andrew Berry created this situation.
I think the owner was really gung ho on getting Deshaun Watson. Andrew Berry had to facilitate it.
I was saying it was under his tenure.
It is, and he's going to get the blame for it, whether he wanted to do it or not. That's what
course he is.
that's what your job
well,
is as a GM.
Well, my point is this: is the Cleveland Browns are not far from having the top defense in the NFL 2 years ago.
Yeah, 2 years ago.
Yeah,
I
and
think-
so if they get if they can put together a solid offense, again, I think they can be competitive. And here's the issue that I believe that Cleveland is looking at. They're looking at by default, if we get our hands on a competent quarterback, we become better than Pittsburgh like that.
I disagree because they're not even going to retain Nick Chubb.
No,
You understand what I'm saying?
and nor should they. I don't think they want Nick Chubb because of the injuries.
So look at the holes on offense. Okay,
Their
Quarterback,
line's depleted.
Running back, several spots on the offensive line. One guy is not going to turn this around.
And I think that was their biggest loss was them losing all of those guys on the offensive line because as good as Cleveland's defense was 2 years ago, they won 11 games because they had a top 3 offensive line in the league. Almost all of those guys are gone now or injured after that season. If Cleveland was to trade back, I could see them trading back with somebody in that top 10, but they would have to acquire another second-round pick or something like that to try to bolster some more picks. I don't see them doing that. I think they're just going to get Travis and say, well, we got Travis Hunter. Let's just see what we can do from here.
If you're Cleveland, okay?
Mm-hmm.
You trade back. If you trade back, what do you want in return?
If I'm Cleveland, and I trade back, it's got to be a top 10 pick in this year's draft. I want that pick, and I probably either want your second-round pick and next year's first. Because if you're trading a 2, you're desperate to get a quarterback, and you really, really want to trade up and get that quarterback. So you're probably going to trade. I mean, we watched what did San Francisco give up 2 or 3 first-round picks for Trey Lance. So
See, I look at
and that was number 3.
I look at I'm looking at chess play, right? I don't see a team like the Saints that is in salary cap hell.
Absolutely.
I see them essentially tanking this year so that they're in the mix for Arch. I don't believe they're going to draft a quarterback. Like, I never bought that they were going to draft a quarterback.
I don't think the Saints take a quarterback either.
So you both of you guys think the Saints out on QBs?
Yes.
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 Okay.
Especially with.
I think they're trying to. I think this Jackson Dart thing is so somebody can reasonably believe that they won't get a quarterback won't fall to them. So now they have to wheel and deal. So you got to realize, okay, so regardless of what, this is just my logic.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless of what people are saying, Shedeur is going to, like you, Shedeur is going in the top 10.
Yeah, for sure.
If they take Jackson Dart at 9, the quarterback bit, everybody who needs a quarterback past 9 is out of the quarterback business. Who can afford? There are teams that really can't afford that.
Steelers.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh, exactly.
They're number one on that. They can't afford to. Yeah. They can't afford to lead this draft without a quarterback.
Yeah. What are the Jets doing?
They're not getting a quarterback.
No, I think they're going to just.
I think they're getting a tackle. I think they're going to get a tackle. Yeah, it's who I have them taking at 7.
Okay.
I got Kelvin Banks going at 7.
Yeah, they'd be better served.
Then you got. I think. Then you got 11.
Yeah, San Francisco.
San Francisco.
I think they're going. I think they're going receiver.
Kyle Shanahan will will and deal to get his guy.
That's who I have trading up with New York. If a trade is going to happen with New York, I got them repeating history and trading for another number 3 pick, and this time they take Shedeur instead of Trey Lance. If New York was to trade, that's what I have New York trading to do. But without them doing that, I got New York taking at number 3. I got New York taking Carter. Yeah, either they trade back or they take Carter. Now Carter wouldn't make the most sense because they just traded and got Brian Burns last year from the Carolina Panthers, and they drafted Kayvon Thibodeau 2 years ago, who's actually a good player. So Dual Carter doesn't make the most sense there. That's why I believe the Giants are trying to trade back. But if the Saints, like you guys say, don't want to take a quarterback, then you're out of trade partners. It's either them or 49ers, in my opinion. Because Steelers don't have enough. What do the Steelers have to trade up to get number 3? Yeah. You want to give up multiple first-round picks to be able to do that.
Basically, your whole draft.
Yeah, you don't. Yeah, exactly, to be able to trade up for number 3. So if New Orleans or San Francisco doesn't trade up to 3 to get that pick from the Giants, I think the Giants are going to take Abdul Carter right there. And in the first movement, we'll see as far as trading will be in that 4 and 5 range with Jacksonville and New England.
Let me ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
Because all the news outlets are, and it may be just TV.
Yeah.
I think they're trying to get people to tune in to see if Shedeur gets drafted.
Yeah. I was just about to ask.
That's crazy.
What do you make of all the scuttlebutt about Shedeur Sanders might be there when Pittsburgh is on the clock?
That's crazy.
In the 20s.
It's crazy talk, man. They're trying to get something entertaining because they have, outside of Travis and Shedeur, there's lackluster star power in this draft.
They're saying this could be an Aaron Rodgers situation.
It's not going. He's not getting out of the top. If he gets to 8 or 9,
somebody's going to
Steelers will move up and get him. Steelers just don't have enough to get up to 3. I don't believe. But if he gets to 8, if they get to 9 and the Saints take a receiver, the Shedeur will be the next pick at 10. They're going to trade the Chicago Bears, who don't need that top 10 pick, because I got the Chicago Bears taking Tyler Warren at tight end, and they don't necessarily. It's tight end. You don't need to take a tight end at number 10.
I got Tyler Warren going to the Jets.
To the Jets, and that would be my other possibility spot for him is Tyler Warren going to the Jets. But I think Chicago, they don't need that pick. So Steelers will move up, or the 49ers too. 49ers need draft capital because they're about to be in salary cap hell like the New Orleans Saints here soon. So I see one of them. He won't get past. I think it's just TV, like Rocky said, man. I keep watching it. I see him getting lower and lower and lower. I'm like, are they going to run out of stuff to talk about if the Giants pick him at 3? What if the Giants pick him at 3? Are they going to stop the draft because they're just going to run out of things to talk about after that? Because this is the only thing they've been talking about. I'm like, Cam Ward is probably going to be number 1 pick, and they're barely talking about him. All they're talking about is how far can Shedeur fall in this draft.
I think Cleveland trades back up and gets Shedeur at 9. That's the only thing that makes sense to me.
But then you're going into your season way under the salary cap. I mean, way above the salary cap. No picks for the future, and just hope.
What's
If
that?
you're Cleveland, because if you trade back up, you're going to deplete your picks. Trading back up into
for nine, you don't have to give up anything other than your 2000
26 first round pick.
Yeah, Cleveland pick. Like, because think about it. Cleveland's going to be projected to finish last in their division.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
So if they give up anything more than their 2026 pick, they're getting snookered. That's how the Bears snookered Carolina.
Yeah.
yeah.
They did.
But I feel like that's what happens. I feel like the NFL always over evaluates their draft picks. Always. I feel like, we watch starters, we watch Pro Bowlers go for 5th round picks in the NFL. So I just feel like if you're trading up for a 9th, they're going to ask for too much, in my opinion. But they could not and they could just do straight up this pick and then next year's pick. But, man, we watched, like you said, Carolina had to give up 2 or 3 picks just to trade to 10.
So what I essentially think you'll have Pittsburgh and Cleveland after Shador, and who's willing to give up more.
Yeah, and I wouldn't discount San Francisco either.
Man, San Francisco is in that top 12, they're the biggest wild card to me outside of the Giants.
Do you sever your relationship with Brock
Yes,
Purdy?
absolutely.
You have to.
Absolutely.
So you're saying
Absolutely.
So you're saying you draft
A rookie quarterback.
you draft Shador. You trade Brock Purdy for their 2nd round pick.
Trade Brock Purdy to Pittsburgh.
You could trade. Yeah, I'm about to say Purdy don't have to be involved in the deal at all. Just trade Purdy in any deal to see how desperate somebody gets, like Pittsburgh.
Because Pittsburgh is desperate like that.
Yeah, Pittsburgh is very desperate
Who's
like
going to
that.
take Purdy?
Pittsburgh will take Purdy right now. Right now, I think Pittsburgh would take Purdy right now today if they made that trade.
What made no sense to me was for Pittsburgh to trade for DK Metcalf, and you don't have anybody to throw the ball to him. And
Nobody.
And George Pickens on the other side is already volatile. And so now you bring in a guy that you know is going to get more targets than him because he cost us more than you do. You understand? So they just created a problem with their passing offense.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So there's already a nickname that they have for Metcalf and Pickens, something clownish. It's not flattering because they're both
They're both crash outs, man. They both crash outs.
That's what it is.
The odd couple?
No,
I don't know.
It's crash out brothers.
Yeah, that's what they are. They both crash outs.
Yeah.
You say one wrong thing to them,
Yeah.
it's gonna be Ron Artest up there fighting against them DBs.
And so I guess maybe what they're hoping is for Mike Tomlin, with the way that he runs a team, to have a calming effect on Metcalf.
Who could you bring in that's a bigger star than either one of those?
Shador,
Aaron Rodgers.
who's a bigger star? Aaron Rodgers the only one, but
Yeah.
But I think Shador is a bigger star than either one of those guys.
then Purdy and Rodgers.
No, then
Oh, Metcalf and
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Shador's a bigger star than everybody on the Steelers.
he has more
Outside of maybe
yeah.
T.J. Watt, maybe.
Yeah. But Shador, we haven't seen Shador do it in the league yet.
Yeah.
See
No.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So to me, they would be better served trading for a Brock Purdy, or
It depends on the deal. I think that just depends on the deal. I think Shador is obviously going to be the better.
well, if the reports we're hearing that the Niners are having a hard time negotiating with Brock Purdy, if those reports are true, then the league knows.
Well,
The
what
league
I would
knows.
ask you is, the Steelers fully thought they wanted this kind of quarterback.
Yeah.
The reason why they didn't, they had every intention of signing Justin Fields, and they just wasn't willing to pay what the Jets was willing to pay.
No, which was $20 million a year.
But
They want a discount. They want
Yeah,
to
they
play
do.
a price.
Of course.
They do.
But here's the thing: we saw this with Justin
Brock
Fields.
ain't giving you the Purdy player price.
We saw this deal with Justin Fields and Russell Wilson, right? Justin Fields was playing well,
Yeah.
okay, but they like, listen, Russell Wilson cost us, so we gotta put him on the field. So
I think that was a Mike
so-
Tomlin move.
Well,
him putting Russ on.
regardless of who engineered it,
Yeah.
they're gonna get the guy that they're paying the most is gonna get the most run. So this is what I'm saying. So now you're gonna have a disgruntled George Pickens this year. I promise you. And he's already kind of hyper in it. You know,
They can go get Duck. What's his name?
Duck Hodges,
Yeah.
like they had a few years ago. That's what they got right now. They got Mason Rudolph on the roster and Skylar Thompson as their two quarterbacks on the roster right now.
Can you do something if you're Pittsburgh instead of trying to trade up to get a quarterback in the first round? Can you just maybe try to do something with Kirk Cousins?
I think they're, but somebody's got to eat that money with Kirk Cousins.
Somebody got to eat that money.
That's what they don't want to do. That I feel like the only way they're gonna eat the money is if it's Aaron Rodgers.
But people want.
Aaron Rodgers said
People
he's
want
going to pay $10 million this year.
No, people want Atlanta to cut Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, that's what they
They're
want.
not cutting Kirk Cousins.
No, that's what I'm saying. They're not
saying.
gonna eat that salary.
Yeah, and because if Atlanta
No, they want something in return for that salary that they got to pay.
No, I'm talking about Pittsburgh
No.
wouldn't want to eat that salary that Kirk is gonna get.
No, he's relatively inexpensive if you cut him because the money's guaranteed to him by
Atlanta. Yeah, and I was puzzled that they didn't cut him in March. You know what I mean? Because he didn't play well. He didn't play well last year.
But somebody's still gonna have to eat some of that money though.
Oh,
if
yeah,
they trade him, and that's why they want to trade him.
$20 million of it is
exactly.
If Aaron Rodgers was serious when he said on the Pat McAfee show, "I'll play anywhere for $10 million this year."
And that's the biggest question: is Aaron Rodgers serious? We don't know what Aaron Rodgers wants to do at that pick, and that's when it starts getting tricky. Is right when you get to that number 2 and 3 pick at this point in the draft, because that's when if Shador Sanders gets picked at 3, the entire draft will change, and if the New York Giants trade back, the entire draft will change.
This is what I was going to ask you.
Mm-hmm.
Say it's all a smoke screen. Tennessee takes Cam. Cleveland takes Shador. The Giants, do they go ahead and draft
Travis.
Jackson?
It's Travis.
Yeah, it's clearly Travis Hunter.
Yeah, it's easily
It's
Travis.
not Jackson Dart?
No, not even close.
Jackson
Not even close.
Jackson Dart probably won't get drafted in the first round.
No, he's going in the first round.
I would be surprised if Jackson Dart goes in the first round because you made a great comparison. He's Mac Jones to me. He feels like Mac Jones.
You know what I mean? The energy, but I've been fooled before because let me give you another scenario.
Mm-hmm.
I swear I thought the whole talk around Mitch Trubisky was fugazi. There's no way.
No. I know it ain't Fugazi. When they start propping up, that's why I'm saying Jackson Dart is going in the first round. When they start propping up the tall white guy. Yeah.
I was
when they start propping up the tall white guy, it's going to happen. And Mahomes. He went over Watson and Mahomes. He went over both of them. When they start propping up the tall white guy at quarterback, he's getting picked in the first round. This year they picked Jackson Dart. We watched Will Levis go from a 5th round pick to the first pick in the second round last year? First or second pick in the second round, whatever year that was that he came out.
Well, I mean, I think I think that those are the kind of things I see in Jackson Dart, where he came from as a player, where he is. He's a really good athlete that plays quarterback, is able to make some really good throws, but he doesn't play the game instinctively, and he certainly doesn't play it in rhythm and with precision.
But he was productive in the SEC. That's
with a star-studded roster, but yes,
okay,
productive.
So, in my opinion, this is just me. Being productive against Vanderbilt, Kentucky.
Yeah, I get your point.
It's different than being productive against Georgia. For that matter, if you just look at productivity based on competition, you would take Jay Milroe over Jackson Dart.
And I would. Even though I believe Jalen Milroe is this year's Anthony Richardson.
For sure.
Somebody's gonna fall in love with the athleticism.
Yes.
I think Jalen Milroe is the 3rd quarterback to go in the first round. And I think Jackson Dart might be the first quarterback in the second round.
I think there's going to be 4 quarterbacks going in the first round. Because I think that somebody's going to trade back up at the end of that first round and take Jalen Milroe.
So
that's what I think.
So let me ask you this. It's an interesting topic.
Yeah, go ahead.
With Jalen Milroe being on the table, if you draft him, do you then try to replicate Philly's offense?
Absolutely.
And is that sustainable in the NFL? Is it a one-trick pony? What do we have there?
If it's sustainable if you pick right. It's not sustainable if he's Anthony Richardson. If he's Jalen Hurts, which he very well can be. It's not like saying.
Well, see, I think it's a problem with not Anthony Rich. It's a problem with the offense, right? Because
In Indianapolis?
in Indianapolis, because
Okay.
you don't try to throw the ball 30 times with Anthony Richardson.
Well, I
Yeah,
think.
especially when you got Jonathan Taylor in the backfield.
Yeah, well, I think that they went away from that. I think they went to running the ball majority of the time. I mean, Anthony Richardson, I don't think he's had over 30 pass attempts, but maybe once in his entire career there. His problem is on 2nd and 8, he can't throw a 10-yard curl route. That's his problem.
Okay, so Daniel Jones shows up in Indy. Okay,
He's going to win that spot.
does that mean you trade Anthony
There's no
Richardson?
chance Daniel Jones wins that
Okay,
spot.
just remember I said this in March.
No.
You can put him
in
out there,
April.
but I've seen him play.
I've seen him play too.
No.
I've seen both of them play.
No, listen, Daniel Jones is better than we're giving him credit for.
I wouldn't say that.
No. But here's my point. Here's my point. Daniel Jones is a really good athlete. Daniel
He
Jones
is.
can rip off 45, 50-yard runs. Daniel Jones's problem was he just didn't know, and he still don't know probably how to read an NFL defense.
I don't think
always
reading the
putting the ball
defense
in
is
harm's way.
the problem with Daniel Jones is when the play breaks down, he breaks down.
Yeah, his problem
No,
is he's a
what-
scaredy cat. He won't make a decision. He'll just stand there.
But the Daniel Jones that we saw without Saquon was a different Daniel Jones than the one we saw with Saquon.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
you can just turn around and hand the ball
Yeah,
off.
exactly.
It makes it,
It's
So he has that in Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I think you're going to see the better version of Daniel Jones, and that's why he's going to win that job. I agree with Jalen on that.
I think he can go. It probably won't be right at the beginning. They're going to give Anthony Richardson an infinite amount of chances because the NFL, and that's what they do with all first-round quarterbacks. You're going to get an infinite amount of chances. So they're going to give Anthony Richardson every chance to be able to win this. Anthony Richardson cannot comprehend an NFL offense. It's just to that point.
Well, he hadn't played enough ball.
He hadn't played enough ball.
He hadn't played enough ball.
He hadn't played enough ball. He makes very, very bad decisions. Daniel Jones' biggest problem is he makes no decision. He won't throw the ball. He won't run. He won't do anything. He'll just stand there, and by the time you look up, he's fumbling, and the other team's running with the ball. Can he win that out? And I think Shane Steichen likes Daniel Jones. Shane Steichen he played against Daniel Jones for 2-3 years in the NFC East. I think he likes him better than Anthony Richardson does. So he'll get that spot. But back to the Jalen Milroe point, I think Milroe can reach the ceiling of a Jalen Hurts, but he also can end up being an Anthony Richardson. That's the problem with it. I think a team is going to trade back into the first round, similar to a Baltimore with Lamar Jackson. They're going to trade back to the end of that first round, and they're going to get
when people talk about Jalen Milroe, it sounds a lot like what people said about Anthony Richardson. I mean, not Anthony Richardson, but
Jalen Hurts.
Jalen Hurts
Mm-hmm.
has a good arm, not a great arm, able to function in the offense, has very high character traits. You know what I mean?
Yes.
His traits as a player.
Mobile.
Yes.
Extremely mobile.
Well, here's where it kind of is tweaked a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Jalen was a gifted athlete that a lot of his athleticism was just by function of what you could say his will, his ability to train and squat for 600 pounds.
Yeah.
And he wasn't extremely fast or anything like that. Milroe was an exceptional athlete.
Yeah,
by any measure.
That's what I was going to say.
By any measure.
I think
he's the fastest player on Alabama's roster. That's saying something right there.
Yeah.
So, and to your point, if they have all similar intangible traits, and I would even say Milroe has a slightly better arm.
I don't think it's slightly. I think Milroe has a much better arm. Jalen Hurts got a noodle arm. I ain't gonna lie. He's a great quarterback. He got
Don't be taking shots.
it's a step above noodle, said. We understand what it is. He's a great decision maker.
Now, here's where I'll say this. Jalen is a much better player after the ball is snapped. And I'm talking about Jalen Hurts.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Is a much better player after
100%
the ball is
agree.
snapped. That's the thing that Milroe has to improve. Once the ball is snapped, he has to be able to take that athleticism, those intangibles, and be able to function on the football field. I would say Jalen Hurts is one of those players that he plays above. Once the ball is snapped, he plays above all his measurables,
Mm-hmm.
and he plays above even his intangibles.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Once the ball is snapped, he's one of those players that you can't really quantify how good he is on the field.
But you know that you can trust him to make the right play. Yeah.
To run it, to throw
whatever.
it,
Yeah.
Whatever he's gonna do, you trust him.
Yeah.
Well, that's why we run so many RPOs.
Yeah,
Jalen
because it's all on you to make the
it's on you
decision.
to make the right call. You know?
And I think Hurts, like you guys said, I think those two are very comparable. Hurts definitely has him in the head game, in my opinion. Like you said, when the ball is snapped, Hurts from college has always made the better decision than Jalen Milroe. Jalen Milroe was a much better athlete. I think he's got a much better arm as far as his ability to throw the ball. Now, his decision-making, no. I think he's got a much better arm.
And listen, I think, take it back to the draft conversation, don't be surprised if the 49ers take Jalen Milroe at 11 because they feel like they have the best offensive mind in football with Kyle Shanahan. And if anybody can figure out how to use this guy, it's him. Okay? And then we'll just move on from Purdy because we're not going to pay you. They're not going to pay you Purdy $50 million a year.
I don't see them. Not a long-term deal, at least.
But I don't think the league will allow him to just strand the NFL starter.
Who?
Purdy.
What you mean?
To strand him, like leave him without a team.
No, he'll get a team.
Oh, no, he'll get a team.
He'll get a team because if the 49ers pick Milroe,
It just won't be in Frisco.
yeah, he still got another year on his deal.
Yeah.
So he could play out this year and take his chances in free agency next year.
They were trying to
He's not.
extend him.
If you draft a quarterback, he's not touching the field.
I think he is touching the field. You don't got a
Who,
choice.
Purdy?
Yeah. You don't got a choice.
If San Fran drafts a quarterback, I think that means that they've given up on Brock Purdy.
I think Purdy will come out there.
And because we still have your rights, chip him.
Oh yeah,
I think, yeah.
Chip him.
If you trade him, I think Purdy will play still with no quarterback. He don't have that type of cachet to say, I'm not going to play. Brett Favre didn't do it. Aaron Rodgers didn't do it. So Purdy sure ain't going to do it. You got to go out there and play.
Yeah.
You got to go out there and play. Whether we got while we have you on the team.
Jacksonville so quick and make his head swim.
I knew who Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
I think Jalen Milroe. I see a team like the Raiders jumping back in, either the Raiders or the Jets jumping back in the end of that first round to get a guy like Jalen Milroe, because if he can get under the right organization with his measurables and what he can do, he can be the best quarterback in this draft, in my opinion.
Now
And
there's a
he could be
there's
this
a little
year's Jamie
tricky
Daniels.
situation that
Yeah.
I'll say.
Yeah.
The only place I think Purdy gets adequate value is in Minnesota.
yeah,
I can see
yeah,
that.
yeah. I can see a little
I
swap.
can see that.
Sam Darnold.
Especially since McCarthy hasn't been proven yet.
We don't know what he can do.
Yeah, we haven't seen it.
He ain't even took reps in
Yeah,
preseason
we
yet.
haven't seen it. So yeah, I can see that.
I can see, but I don't see Purdy being in San Francisco 2 years from now. Is what I think. I don't think he's going to be there 2 or 3 years from now. They're going to find a way to move off Purdy because they just know he's not the guy. Kyle Shanahan's not a dummy. He knows he's not the guy. John Lynch is not a dummy. He knows that Brock Purdy's just not the guy. And paying him $50 million will essentially ruin your run that they've been on. If they pay him $50 million, that'll be the final straw on the camel's back, in my opinion, as far as trading him.
They're already sitting on a house of cards.
Yeah, they really are. While we got a couple minutes here left, the next couple of picks here, 4, 5, and 6. Jaguars at 5, New England at 4, Raiders at 6. Do we see them staying with their picks or are they trading? What are they doing right here?
I think they all stand pat and just take the best available, the one that fits their need the most.
I can see Jacksonville trading
Depending
out
on
if
who's
one of those
available.
two. Yeah, exactly. Depending on who's available.
That's true.
If Shador is available, all those picks are in the air. If Shador does not get picked, all of those picks in the air because Jacksonville, especially at 5, I think is the one that trades back. I think the Vegas Raiders like Genty at 6. You said they might go a different route and then take another running back in second. That could be a possibility too.
Yeah, I think,
but
I think the Raiders would probably go offensive line.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked by that at all.
Offensive line, because the running back class. Now we know Gentry is the best back in the draft.
For sure.
That's no debate there. But there's so many good backs.
Yeah, there are.
You know, you can get a starter in the second round. You really
Yeah,
could.
I think New England stays pat here. I got New England taking Will Campbell there at tackle out of LSU. At 5, I got Jacksonville taking Mason Graham. If they don't trade back, I think Mason Graham will be the guy that they pick there. And at 6, I like the Raiders taking Gentry. I don't know, the last few picks in that top 10, any splashes that y'all see there? Really, what's the main one is at number 9. Y'all both said New Orleans is not taking a quarterback. I think New Orleans is going to be the guy that gets tricked into taking Jackson Dart. That's what I believe. I think New Orleans is the one that gets tricked into doing it because of Kellen Moore. He wants a quarterback. He wants to start his career in New Orleans with somebody. And I think that they'll make them be Jackson Dart there, which I wouldn't pick Jackson Dart at 9, but, you know.
I want to retract what I said earlier. About there's no such thing as being overdrafted. That would be overdrafted.
It's definitely a thing of being overdrafted. I watched Mr. Trubisky go number 3, so it's definitely a thing of being overdrafted. Yeah, I think they'll take a quarterback there at 9. But if they decide not to take one because of what you guys said, the salary cap position is there, I wouldn't be shocked by that whatsoever if they decide to not take somebody at 9. Go ahead.
I just want to say before we get out of here, as a Cowboy fan.
That's what I was going to end off with. So you're right on line.
Yeah.
You're right on line.
We probably need Mikael Williams
Out of Georgia.
But we're probably, if Jerry's going to draft Matthew Golden.
That's what you think?
Yeah. Golden over McMillan?
I think they're going to take McMillan.
Nah, we're going to draft.
Because I think the 49ers are going to take Golden if they stay with their pick.
I don't know if McMillan is going to be there.
Yeah, McMillan could get picked at 8 easily. I wouldn't be surprised if Carolina takes. If they take him, Xavier Legette showed that he's not going to be that number 1 guy after last year. But
I'd love for us to take Mikael Williams, and I'd love to see us kind of fall back and we wouldn't be able to fall back very far and get him.
Mm-hmm.
But if there was a trade partner where we could pick up a 4th round or a 6th round pick. Because I think we can get him at 15.
Mikael Williams?
Yeah.
That's possible.
But we're 12, but I think we could get him at 15.
I don't know if Mikael Williams is going to fall that far, but I'm not going to be shocked by that whatsoever. I think there's a good amount of edge rushers coming out this year.
So I think, you know how it happens in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
Someone has to take a D lineman, right? And I don't see a D lineman other Graham.
Mm-hmm.
Once Graham is drafted, then I think the D lineman is going to start coming out.
Yeah.
They're going to start coming out.
That's where you start seeing
Stewarts
and
Jalen Walker will go top 10, I believe. Mikael Williams will be right outside of that top 10, I believe. Yeah, I'm like you. I think they're going to take a receiver.
So let me ask you this: in your opinion, before we get out of here,
mm-hmm.
there's 2 positions I think they're going to go that domino effect. I think D-line is going to be one of them. I think cornerback is going to be the other, possibly even wide receiver. Which domino effect you think is going to start first out of those 3 positions? Wide receiver,
I think
cornerback, and defensive line.
I think it's going to be wide receiver.
I think it's going to be wide receiver too.
Because the line of delineation between tier 1 and tier 2, there's not a lot of tier 1 receivers. Also, not a lot of tier 1 cornerbacks as well. But I think once you see one receiver go, I think teams are gonna be like, all right, well, let's go ahead and get this guy while he's still here.
McMillan is going to be the one to set it off. If McMillan gets drafted by 8 by the Panthers, we're going to see probably 2 or 3 more receivers get drafted before we get to 20. I feel like Matthew Golden will start going. We'll start seeing the Jaden Higgins start going. Somebody might take a chance on Mbuka out of Ohio State. So I think he'll be the one to set that off if it does happen, if somebody does move back in there. Last one before we get off the draft. What is Pittsburgh going to do here? Are they going to trade up or are they going to stay at 20 and accept Tyler Show or Jackson Dart? Because they can't. I don't think they can afford to draft Milroe.
Well, they don't. Like I say, they don't really have anything to trade with.
They don't.
So I think they just got to take the best quarterback who's still on the board at that time because they have nothing. They have we've seen Mason Rudolph before. Okay, you know, yeah, you might see this is where Jackson Dart is probably going to go.
Jackson Dart or Tyler Show. If somebody doesn't trade up and get Jackson Dart, it'll be Jackson Dart. But I wouldn't be shocked if somebody ended up taking a Jackson Dart before 20, just because, like I said, once they start hyping up the tall white guy that plays quarterback, he's going to get picked early. And if it goes from there, I think it'll be Tyler Show because they can't afford to draft Milroe. Milroe needs to sit for at least a year. They can't afford. Whoever the Steelers draft has to play in August.
Right.
When preseason starts.
And my last comment on the draft, I would like to see the Eagles draft the safety out of South Carolina. I can't pronounce his name.
Imuwala.
Yeah.
Man.
But he put on a show at the combine, and we definitely need some help.
E-Man Warrior. I said it wrong.
Yeah,
E-Man Warrior. Nick E-Man Warrior.
And we, he would be a nice replacement for Gardner Johnson.
I love that pick. If the Philadelphia Eagles get him, he's one of my favorite players in this draft. I'm not gonna lie. 6'5", 220, and ran a 4.3.
Yeah,
they're gonna get a defensive line.
You think the Eagles are gonna get a D lineman just to continue the trend of drafting the D lineman every year?
They lost too many of them.
I mean, I don't think they lost too many of them at all. Who they lose? Josh Sweat
and understand
and Milton.
Yeah,
Milton didn't come on to the end of the year.
We got defensive linemen who didn't get any run last year that they want to see. So defensive lineman is not a need.
Milton
really
Williams was one of them.
Yeah.
Milton Williams didn't start playing until midseason.
Yeah.
Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis start.
Yeah.
Milton Williams was coming off the bench. That's why he was able to get numbers.
Yeah.
So I think they're sitting there.
You got to address your secondary, especially since I don't see any super talented linebacker going to be there with the 32nd pick overall.
They're going young in their secondary.
Yeah.
I think they're going to commit to going young in their secondary. They already got the two guys they took last year. I think E-Man Warrior would be
unless Howie Roseman works his magic and somehow.
There ain't no telling with Howie, man.
To the top five, you know?
You can't. I don't trust Howie. I don't trust Howie at all. I ain't no telling what he'll do. We might see Shador being the backup for Philadelphia. Ain't no telling what we'll see with them.
We got 10 picks in this draft.
Yeah,
you know
yeah. They do got 10 picks in this draft. Folks, we're out of time here today. Before we get off here, the game's coming on here tonight. Right now, Milwaukee and Indiana in the second quarter. Indiana's up 53-43. Memphis and OKC started. OKC has a 10-point lead in that game. How do you see these games turning out tonight? A couple of them have already started, and the last one is the Timberwolves versus Lakers. I'll start with you, Rocky, real quick. Who you got winning these last couple of games? I mean, these couple of games here tonight.
Of course, I have. There's 3 tonight.
3. Yep.
I have Indiana.
Okay.
I have OKC and the Lakers. Is it a must-win for the Lakers? I don't know.
Yes,
because the Lakers have been terrible on the road all season long. Definitely a must-win for the Lakers, but I think Minnesota beats them. I agree with the other 2 picks, but I think Minnesota gets because the Minnesota showed that not only are they longer than the Lakers, they're more athletic than the Lakers.
Oh yeah.
Now, are they going to shoot 50% from 3-point line?
No,
probably not. But that wasn't why they won that game. They won that game because of their ability to defend on the perimeter with that length, and the fact that the Lakers have no big man that can match up with Gobert.
Yeah, I think I'm agreeing with you, Rocky. I got the same picks. I got Indiana winning tonight. I got obviously OKC. Memphis not winning the game. And then I got the Lakers winning tonight because I don't think the Timberwolves can replicate everything they did in game 1. What I will agree with you said is they have obvious matchup problems for the Los Angeles Lakers, and not so much of Gobert, but it's Randall. Randall is going to get to be the bull in the china shop, and he's going to get to play against Austin Reeves and Luka and these guys. Yeah, but then who's going to guard the other guys? And all that takes is a switch. Why are we going to do a switch? They switch everything. Everybody's scared to guard now. We're going to switch everything. Get LeBron's on me. Hey, switch this out. Somebody come get LeBron off me. Let me get Reeves on me again.
I want Randall with the ball rather than Anthony Edwards. I'll just tell you.
I would want Randall with the ball rather than Edwards, too. I think the Lakers win because they can't replicate. Randall's not going to hit 4 for 6 from threes again. But McDaniel's not going to go 3 for 6.
I'll say this. McClain, McMillan, whatever his name is.
Yeah, McDaniels.
Yeah. Mac won't hit 25.
Yeah, he's not going to get 25 again tonight.
He played over his skis in game 1.
But Ant's not going to get 22 again.
Well, but the thing about Ant is Ant's not playing hero ball anymore.
No,
you know
he trusted his teammates.
He's trusting his teammates. And I think because he's he's elevated his game like that to where he's not trying to be Kobe.
Nas Reed, man, we had all kinds.
Nas
Nas
went for
Reed,
25.
yeah.
Nas Reed, nice. I don't see those guys keeping up that though. I think eventually Anthony Edwards will have to go to that Herculean type of effort because they just don't have enough to keep up with them offensively with the Lakers. Luka's going to keep doing exactly what Luka did in game one. He had 37 in game one. He's going to keep doing that. Reeves and LeBron will play better.
And guard nobody.
And guard nobody. He ain't even thinking about guarding nobody. And matter of fact, if I'm the coach, I don't want you to think about guarding nobody. I'm going to do what they did. I'm going to stick my worst defender on their best player. They guarded. That's why Ant was passing the ball so much. I'm going to stick Luka on Ant because now you're going to immediately think, I got to go score right now. And if it's either that or we going to help and you're going to pass. I don't want Luka being my help because that's how we got McDaniels hitting 4 threes. That's how we got Randall hitting 4 threes in that game.
They're going to blitz Ant again.
They are. They're going to do the exact same thing.
They're
going to do they're not going to change in the game plan. The game plan difference is Austin Reeves make your shots.
Mm-hmm.
LeBron score more than 18 points. That's the game plan.
And Minnesota not shooting 50% from three-point line.
And they can't. They can't. They're similar to my Rockets and who can't find a piece of offense anywhere. I think Minnesota's a step above that because they obviously have Anthony Edwards, so that gives them a step above. But they're similar to my Rockets in they don't really have an offense. They don't run an offense. It's kind of instinct and let's find a matchup in here, especially if Ant's not hitting. So if McDaniels and Randall don't hit those threes, I think the Lakers win that game here tonight. But we'll see. That game comes on at 9 o'clock tonight. Other 2 games have already started. Folks, we're out of time here today. Want to thank everybody for tuning in with us here today on Centex Primetime. We'll be back here tomorrow, same time, same place to be able to talk some more about these games that just happened. And we will also talk some more about the NFL draft that comes on Thursday as well. We'll have Wayne Walker in studio to come in here and talk about that some more as well. Signing off here today, Jalen, Gillis. Want to appreciate Rocky Miller and Said Eigerhart for jumping on here with me here today to come on the show. Back same time tomorrow. We want to thank you guys for tuning in. Everybody have a great evening.
In beautiful Waco, Texas. I think the event has exceeded all of our expectations. We had an amazing turnout and great sessions and nothing but positive feedback. So this is our first conference in a convention center, and I'm used to working with hotels where there's like one person to talk to for everything. And so at the last minute, we realized we needed audio and video services. And so I contacted Lighthouse Streaming and Audio, and they were very quick to respond. They were able to, even though it was the last minute, they were able to fit us into their schedule, and they provided us with technicians and equipment to record our sessions, and we'll be able to